Dr. Robin Chakraborty, Senior Consultant Cardiologist, and he will speak on a very important subject, hypertension in the elderly. Over to Robin. Hypertension in the elderly, very important subject.
Thank you very much. So we'll start the talk straight away. So this is a hypertension. As we know that it has been shown, this is a data from the American group of cardiology showing that the elderly are the most rapidly growing population group in the world. Data collected over a 30-year period have demonstrated clearly that increasing prevalence of hypertension with age. The risk of coronary artery disease, stroke, congestive heart disease, chronic kidney disease, dementia, they are also increased in this subgroup of hypertension. So therefore, the hypertension in the elderly population represents a management dilemma to cardiovascular specialists and other practitioners. During the last year and before, the findings of systolic hypertension also become of paramount importance. So let us quickly go through a case, which is a 78-year gentleman with the hypertension and on antihypertensive drugs. But the hypertension is not well controlled despite reaching adequate dosage. The patients have osteoarthritis, taking NSAID off and on. He also suffered cerebrovascular accident 5 years back and taking anticonvulsant drug, and is leading a sedentary lifestyle with depression. There's another case with 84-year lady consulted her doctor for hypertension with 2 antihypertensive drugs. Blood pressure again is not under control. Blood pressure, third drug was added. Third drug dose was increased, but patient started developing the dizziness, and there's a fall on ground and developed fracture hip. Patient was put on traction, osteoporosis was detected. So clearly this patient has hypertension, osteoporosis, and hip fracture. So we know today that elderly hypertension is a very distinct entity and that needs a very special attention by the physician. In the United States, we know that today 70% of elderly populations have uncontrolled hypertension because of physiological changes, because of associated comorbidities, drug interaction, and socioeconomic factor. They are very important, very essential points to remember. But the characteristics of geriatric hypertension is something different. Because of the age, there is decreased vascular compliance. There is increased baroreceptor sensitivity. There is increased salt sensitivity of blood pressure, which is very important. And the recent data which has come up very nice, presented in the last American College of Cardiology meeting, showing that the excessive salt restriction may not be good in the elderly population. That may actually cause metabolic encephalopathy. Similarly, central adiposity and neurohumoral changes. We have to remember that with age, there is stiffening of the blood vessels. There is increased thickness of intima, there is collagen deposition, there is fibronectin increase, and there is a cross-linkage of glycosylation and end product leading into increased vascular stiffness, which is important. And consequently, there is a relative increase in systolic blood pressure, there is increase in pulse pressure. That's what happens often in elderly population, and there is a decreased diastolic blood pressure. So clearly, beyond certain age, let us say beyond 70 or even 80, diastolic blood pressure may not have much significance in terms of clinical events like cerebrovascular accident or even cardiovascular accident. We also need to remember that the elderly population actually have lower intravascular volume. Many people may not be aware of it. So the very aggressive treatment with diuretic may not help because already they got a contracted intravascular volume. On top of that, if you give them diuretic, there is further compromise on the volume. On the top of increased vascular stiffness, there is increased blood pressure variability. There is increased vascular blood pressure homeostasis, and there's the normal physiological sort of changes or the diurnal variation of blood pressure gets changed with age, and that is very important. We need to remember there are certain factors which are very important in the management of blood pressure, in controlling the blood pressure. One of them is autonomic nervous system. Second is the hormone, particularly the neurohumoral system. Third is the vascular compliance, the pliability of the blood vessel wall, and also the electrolytes. I have to say that at elderly population, there are problems with the autonomic system, there are problems with neurohumoral axis, there are problems with metabolic management, as well as the vascular stiffness. So the elderly population, we actually say the blood pressure is elevated if there is something like more than 140 standard, but beyond that, sometimes 150 and above and 160 and above may be considered to be important. We also need to say that the neurohormonal changes like decreased beta receptor sensitivity, increased norepinephrine, increased renal activity, and increased aldosterone. And therefore, there are clinical issues. For example, many of them may have white coat hypertension, labile hypertension, pseudo hypertension because of the vascular stiffness, and some of them are obese. Postural hypotension, secondary hypertension, you must not forget atherosclerotic renal artery disease can actually cause secondary hypertension, and many of them may have resistance hypertension or pseudo-resistance hypertension, combination with polypharmacy and drug interaction. Compliance is an important issue. So blood pressure ambulation or ambulatory blood pressure monitoring is important. 24-hour blood pressure recording has been shown that it is correlated well with target organ damage. And it is so true in elderly population, but seldom we actually do 24-hour ambulatory blood pressure monitoring. As I said before, that falsely increasing systolic blood pressure is an important component. Due to rigid arterial wall and artery do not collapse during cough inflation, therefore you get a very false alarm of blood pressure elevation. Evaluation of heart, kidney, central nervous system, eyes are important. It is also important that assessment of the concomitant disease like diabetes, dyslipidemia, hyperuricemia, when anemia, for example, people often forget chronic kidney disease. These are the things which are very important. Drug-related complications like drugs for osteoporosis, drug for osteoarthritis, drug prescribing for epididyma for something else because of the tissue laxity, other kind of things, electrolyte imbalance, and postural hypotension. This is perhaps a kind of reasonable way to take the blood pressure target for an elderly population, something like beyond the systolic blood pressure, above 60 years, more than 150. That is the American College of Physicians recommendation, but European Society said that maybe beyond 140 millimeter. But very elderly people, something beyond 80 years, maybe you can accept more than 160 millimeter systolic and diastolic 90 millimeter. So treatment of hypertension in older person has demonstrated major benefit. And it reminds me, very important trial called SHAPE trial. This is the first time Dr. Deepak Bhatt from Boston, as actually Beth Israel Hospital, has proved that if we actually treat this elderly population with antihypertensive medication, it has been shown to improve the clinical outcome in terms of cardiovascular complications, vascular complications like stroke, renal complication, and ophthalmological complication and peripheral vascular disease. So clearly, it has been shown that if you reduce the blood pressure, there is 34% reduction of stroke, 20% reduction of coronary heart disease, and 23% reduction of the vascular death. And as I said, the SPRINT trial by Dr. Deepak Bhatt, accomplished trial by calcium channel blocker, high fat by diuretic, and SHAPE trial, very old trial though, with diuretic again. So the issues one is to remember that antihypertensive drugs are strongly advocated in elderly population. Though there is most data are on patients below 80 years, but we are actually coming up with present or facing population beyond 80 years. HIGH trial has demonstrated clear benefit with diuretic, actually chlorthalidone or other diuretic beyond 80 years. This is a kind of very important information, and we do come across patients with hypertension beyond 80 years. And in elderly, blood pressure lowering below 130 or 70 is not desirable. So physicians should not be enthusiastic to give blood pressure that way. You have to come down to below 130 or 120/80. It may not be desirable because it may actually cause orthostatic fall. We also remember that there are drugs which should be used with caution, particularly in elderly population, because they may be taking from other drugs, polypharmacy. There may be non-adherent. Some people may leave alone. There may be some attendant accompanying the patient. There is a lot of drug interaction with other drugs, like joint drugs and other. Some of them are malignant drugs, some of them are other drugs. So very important. Resistant hypertension has to be remembered. And also it is important to do TONE trial and DASH trial has shown that salt restriction, too much of salt restriction is not very much recommended, but over enthusiastic salt, the supplementation is also not equally good. Weight loss is important because many elderly population may be overweight, and they should do a kind of reasonable exercise program which is befitting for their age. This is a kind of drug. If you are more than 55, 60 years of age, maybe you can try with calcium channel blocker. But we need to remember at this point, when you choose a drug, it is important that you always try to assess the patient, taking into consideration of the comorbid condition or associated complication like coronary heart disease, cerebrovascular heart disease, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, and peripheral vascular disease. So these sort of combination is important because that will help you to select the drug. For example, somebody above 60 years of age or 70 years of age with hypertension associated with coronary artery disease, both C and D may not be good because beta blocker continues to remain the best drug in that group of patients. Similarly, another person where you have a kind of a chronic kidney disease along with hypertension, maybe a small dose of diuretic would be extremely helpful. Calcium channel blocker in general is very effective in this group of patients. So this is what exactly it is. And there is a report from American College of Cardiology Foundation Task Force said that for elderly hypertension, the first is lifestyle modification, and then you identify the target blood pressure for that particular patient, then select your drug. Most of the time, if it's associated with heart failure, try to choose something like beta blocker, definitely important, aldactone is important, and sometimes even ARB is important. Post-MI, beta blocker, even ACE inhibitors are very good drug for this group of patients. With angina, beta blocker, calcium channel blocker. So accordingly, you select diabetes group of patient, ACE inhibitor or ARB along with calcium channel blocker is extremely important. Thiazide, try to avoid because it's not a kind of good drug for them. Chronic kidney disease at early stage is extremely useful drug, ACE inhibitors and ARB, but beyond certain level of creatinine, one has to be cautious about ARB and ACE inhibitor. Elderly population has to be taken differently, taking into consideration the coexisting condition which often remain with them along with hypertension. If you go through all the guideline summary, it says that when you treat hypertension in an elderly individual, you start with a small dose, increase gradually with monitoring, add next drug carefully if not controlled, observe the side effects, and always consider drug interaction and non-compliance. Inquire, talk to the patient attendant, relative, that whether or not the patients are taking drug adequately or not. It may be advisable for the physician that to ask the patient to bring the medicine when they visit their doctor. So you can actually go through the medicine what she or he takes to ensure that compliance is appropriate. Choice of drugs according to concomitant disease is extremely helpful. And which agent is best, we do not know. There are so many agents, as I said earlier. I just need to touch maybe another couple of minutes. I'll quickly finish it. Clothalidone is supposed to be a very good drug, and both American College of Cardiology and American Heart Association has been recommended that this is a drug which is extremely helpful and can be considered as initial choice for hypertension. Even the Indian physician, the Association of Physicians also recommended clothalidone as a preferred over hydrochlorothiazide as a hypertension antihypertensive drug. And we have evidence to prove, like ALERT trial, MRP trial, SHAPE trial, they have shown there's a good drug. The reason is that it has shown that the higher systolic blood pressure reduction is achieved with clothalidone rather than with amlodipine in elderly individual. SHAPE trial we knew, it's a very old trial. We know that this is again a good drug. 24-hour blood pressure monitoring or blood pressure control status with clothalidone is far better than with hydrochlorothiazide. And the New England Journal of Medicine again has come up with a fantastic message that clothalidone for hypertension in advanced chronic kidney disease is actually a good drug, which many people may not be sort of comfortable. Among patients with advanced chronic kidney disease and poorly controlled hypertension, clothalidone therapy improved blood pressure control at 12 weeks as compared to placebo. Calcium channel blocker has already been talked about. It's a good drug for elderly population, but it may cause sometimes a kind of orthostatic hypertension, but it is very good in those patients with dementia. It's very good in those patients with increased vascular stiffness. It has some adverse effects like postural hypertension, ankle edema. ACE inhibitors, again a good drug, but in selective group of patients, very effective in dementia with hypertension. Beta blocker, hypertension with arrhythmia, hypertension with coronary heart disease, hypertension with heart failure. 3 indications: arrhythmia, ischemic heart disease, heart failure. And whether to give single or multiple agents. Most of the time, single agent doesn't work. So usually the elderly population need at least 2 drugs, sometimes more. The target is to control the blood pressure 20 systolic and 10 millimeter diastolic with 2 drug combination. There could be some elderly population resistant hypertension, but before that, you try to ensure that it is not a pseudo-resistant hypertension. That is very important. But if it is resistant, you go through the drugs. There may be NSAID, like in one of those cases as I presented, or it could be depression drug. Non-adherence is another point one has to remember, and compliance is a very important component of treatment. Coming back to my first case, this case, as I said, that patient was taking NSAID. So it should be avoided in patient. Depression again should be taken into consideration because patient may forget to take the medicine. Physiotherapy should be started and patient should be reminded. In case 2, patient actually develop hypotensive symptoms. So osteoporosis should be taken care of, and any diuretics which may change the calcium metabolism should be avoided. So the take-home message that for treatment of elderly hypertension, there has to be a multidisciplinary approach to handle an elderly hypertensive case because the number of other comorbidities, number of other drugs, polypharmacy, and non-compliance. So take these points into consideration. Otherwise, treatment is safe, simple, and choose the drug depending upon that particular patient. I don't think there is a clear guideline to select a drug. Always the other condition will decide and dictate what drug would be appropriate for that particular patient. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ravinda. If there are no further questions, we come to an end to today's evening scientific session, and I hand over to the organizers.
So we conclude this session and we will go on to the valedictory in Hall A. Thank you.
Right, Yahweh.